Thanks very much, Chair. Yeah, I was surprised that you didn't really put things in context before you gave your speeches as you gave them. I mean, we have almost 30,000 Palestinians murdered by the Israeli regime, over 12,000 children. We have over 90% of the population are starving now. Babies have been born to malnourished mothers and they're only living for a few days. And you're saying that there's an unacceptable violation of international law going on and it's the Houthis doing it? We have, under international law, we have an obligation to prevent genocide taking place. The EU has done nothing to stop the genocide taking place. The Houthis have done something about it, and by interfering with shipping, facilitating the genocide. I mean, how in God's name, how can you just turn a blind eye to the truth of what's really happening? The Houthis have killed nobody with the interference of the ships. Israel has killed 30,000, and you're giving out about the Houthis who've killed nobody. You're putting shipping before the lives of Palestinians. You just don't give a damn about the Palestinian lives, and that's the truth of the matter. And you're worried about spillover. Israel, in international law, Israel is bombing Lebanon. Israel is bombing Lebanon, is bombing Syria, is bombing Gaza. And you're worried about the Yemenis interfering with ships because there's money been lost over it? Is it a joke? Honest, I just don't understand how you can take this perspective. What he's going to do about it? Is he ever going to tell Israel that they're committing a genocide? Because if this is not a genocide that's going on in Gaza, then what would you call it? That's one of my questions to you. I want you to know, what would you call what's going on in Gaza if it's not a genocide? And my other question to you is, if right now the US and UK are bombing cities in Yemen, do you think that's against the UN Charter? Because I do. Please tell me. It might be okay with the international rules-based order that you just make up as you go along, but it is not okay with the UN Charter. Give us a break.
Ms. Daly, thank you.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks to our speakers. I think it is fair to say, Ms. Gilly, I mean, do you realise how, I suppose, offensive and hypocritical it must seem to the millions of Europeans who've marched in order to have the upholding of international law and human rights validated by having a ceasefire in Gaza, to hear a representative of the EU saying that your motivation in the Red Sea is because of an unacceptable violation of international law, when the crimes people are witnessing on their TVs are the likes of which we have never seen. And EU authorities have not only not done anything, but have been openly declaring that they are prepared to ignore the outcomings of the International Court of Justice. So how is that upholding international law? And is the lives of people not more important than commerce? I think as well there is a bit of a problem with talking about peace in Yemen when we have illegal acts being perpetrated by our so-called like-minded partners and 3 member states supporting them. And the EU has nothing to say about that. Clearly, you couldn't care less about peace in Yemen if you're standing by and seeing civilians being bombed in Yemeni cities who've had nothing got to do with this. So I suppose my questions are quite targeted. Do you accept the claim by the Yemenis that they are only targeting Israeli ships and those destined to part of the occupied Palestinian territories, and that they are doing that in order to exercise pressure on Israel, a pressure which the EU could have done economically, for example, by suspending the EU-Israel Association Agreement and taking other efforts? They also say that their actions will stop once humanitarian aid is allowed to get in and access the people of Palestine who desperately need it. Again, a situation upheld by international law. So would it not be more productive to engage in that diplomatically rather than using it as an excuse for more militarism in the area?
Thank you very much. I think just before I give to the experts, it's exactly a problem with this kind of meeting that they're here to provide sort of the technical background for an operation in the Red Sea. And most of us are, including myself, are interested in the political discussion brought up by almost all the speakers. But their way of answering cannot be about genocide because they're here as experts on the Red Sea. I could be able to answer that, and I'm very happy to talk at this forum or another forum where we make it more political. So here we've already sort of pre-selected the sort of discussion. I think it happens in these discussions. So they'll be able to answer the technical sides, but unfortunately, our discussion will be the political side, and theirs is the purely operational side. So I don't know if they can represent the EU to answer the difficult questions. That's my sense. Mick, you have a quick...
Sorry, Chair, just one point. Do you not think that to discuss any topic, you've got to put things in context? And
Yeah, I think we have done it with almost all the speakers, Mick. I have it in context too. I gave a brief
the
introduction.
context of this discussion is related directly to the,
Yes. I agree.
terrible
I think
atrocities taking
we need
place in Gaza.
We should have an open discussion on this without quote unquote experts. But here, let's hear them and do the best to answer even the political ones if they like. Thank you.